Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We shall chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verses 1 to 10.
Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmana Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shamsasi Yachri Yadetayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasa karma yogasya nishriya karamuhau tayostu karma sannyasa karma yogo vishishyate niyasa nitya sannyasi yo nadveshti na kanchati Nirbandho hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate sankhya yoga prutak balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyastitas samyat ubhayor vindate phalam Yasankyai prapyate sthanam tadyogairapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati sanyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptumayogataha Yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena vikachati Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid pashyan shunvan sprashan chikran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrijan grindan unmishan nimishan lapi Indriyani-indriyatneshu vartanta iti dharayan brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padmapatramibhambasva.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita. For today's topic, meaning for this time in Bhagavad Gita lectures, we will be covering chapter 5 entitled as Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of renunciation of action. The very title gives fear. You understand? What is this renunciation of action? Because this word renunciation is mostly misunderstood. And renunciation is the crux of Vedanta, is the crux of spirituality. You understand? We generally say, if you have viveka, means discrimination, the ability to discriminate, think, the ability to decipher, the right from the wrong, the good from the bad. If you have viveka, immediately that viveka should follow vairagya. Vairagya is another synonym of renunciation in Sanskrit. Sannyasa means renunciation. Vairagya also means detachment, which means renunciation. These are words mostly misunderstood. And this is the crux of Vedanta. And in life, we are deluded about many things. What is delusion? We think what is binding to be liberating. What is actually liberating to be binding. That is called delusion. For example, wealth and moksha or liberation. Wealth is means or the goal. Wealth should be the means, but wealth has become the goal. In Sanskrit we call it as sadhana sadhyam. You understand? What is sadhyam? What is sadhana? You should know that. What is the means? What is the end? The end is not wealth. You understand? Wealth is only the means. Whatever wealth it may be, whether it is the mental wealth or physical wealth, or material wealth or physical health, that is also a wealth. You understand? All these are means for a different thing. What is that goal? You understand? In life, what is the means? What is the end? We should know that. So nobody really has viveka. If you have viveka, what should follow viveka is vairagya. When you know what is good for you through viveka, and when you know what is not good for you through viveka, you should detach from what is not good for you, no? Yes or no? When you know what is good for you and what is not good for you, you should detach from what is not good for you and focus on what is good for you. Are you with me? So therefore, they say, if you have viveka, you will have to have vairagya. If you don't have vairagya, means you do not have viveka. Similarly, they say, if you have vidya, knowledge, you should have vinaya, humility. Einstein says, what is my knowledge compared to my ignorance? Einstein is saying, what about you and me? You understand? So therefore, the more wise you grow in life, the wiser you grow in life, the more humble you become. The more clarity you develop through right discrimination, the more detachment, renunciation you will have. And this renunciation, I said, is the crux of Vedanta. Now, this renunciation is the secret of success. And this renunciation is bliss. And all this, Swamiji beautifully discusses in the book Vedanta Treatise, The Eternities. This book, Vedanta Treatise, The Eternities, is written by my Guru, Swami Parthasarathiji, many years ago. Maybe, I think it's now about 40-50 years ago. And he took almost, he says, more than about 15-20 years. And as the name suggests, it's a composition of the entire Vedanta. You understand? It consists of, you can say, around 30-40 books. What Swamiji has done is, he's digested all the wisdom from those books and is put that in contemporary language and thought for us to understand, and he has written that book following the fundamental principle of education to move from the known to the unknown. So from the basics of Vedanta till the ultimate truth that Vedanta declares, he slowly proceeds from the known to the unknown. He comes down to our level, and from there he takes us to that ultimate. So there is a chapter called renunciation. It comes in the middle part. He's written this book in 3 parts. Part A, part B, part C, all in one book. It comes in part B, called as Practical Vedanta. Part A is called as Introduction to Vedanta. Part B is called as Practical Vedanta. And part C is called as Essence of Vedanta. So in that part B is given this topic called renunciation. And in that he discusses, he says, renunciation is the secret of success, is the key to success. And renunciation is bliss. What it is, I am not going to explain now today. In our lecture in these 4 days, I will be talking about it. Okay. So if I get into that, then I won't be able to get into the chapter. So I'm only mentioning it is very important to understand what true renunciation is. Because that is the crux for material success as well as mental peace, spiritual evolution. You understand? So, this name, sannyasa, frightens people. Karma sannyasa yoga, the yoga of renunciation of action. When we understand, instead of getting frightened about it, it becomes a what? Magic wand in our hands. You understand? With that magic wand called renunciation, we could perform miracles in our life. But first, we should have this magic wand. We should understand that correctly. See, Shastras, scriptures, actually the word Shastra means teach and protect. Scriptures never talk about the do's and don'ts. You understand? A lot of people think, oh, I'm already doing the right things in life. I don't need to know the do's and don'ts. That is not what scripture is talking about. You understand? Scripture doesn't talk about do's and don'ts. It doesn't tell you, do this, don't do this. It doesn't say all that. What the scripture does is, it gives you clarity once you understand it. Then you know what is right, what is wrong. You know what is good, what is not good. Then accordingly, you will lead your life. You understand? So these Shastras will give you the right knowledge by which the misunderstandings are removed, by which the confusions are removed, by which the delusion is removed, by which we improve clarity, we develop clarity in life. You understand? When a person is lost in darkness, all the person requires is light. Isn't it? Once there is light, he can manage himself. So that's the light Vedanta gives. That's the light Bhagavad Gita gives. And Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, a lot of people have this question. Sir, Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, are they different? If so, how? They are not different. You understand? Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Vedanta. There is an invocation. There is an invocation written by Swami Madhusudana Saraswati for Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And it is in 9 shlokas. In one of the shlokas he says, Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopalanandanaha partho vatsas sudhir bhokta dugdam gitamritam mahat. Sarva Upanishadaha gavaha. Upanishads are given in the end of Vedas. We have 4 Vedas: Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. And each of these Vedas are split into 4 parts called as Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. Right? The Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka put together are called as Veda Purva Bhaga. It is given in the beginning. It talks more about Karma Kanda, rituals. And you go to the last portion of the Vedas called Upanishads. Since it's given in the Ant Bhag of Vedas, it's called Vedanta. And it is nothing but Upanishads. And what do they talk about? They talk about knowledge of life and living. That's what the Upanishads talk about. But the Upanishads are addressing students who are very, very high, very evolved. You understand? So that same knowledge which was given to students who are very evolved is diluted and given to a man of action called Arjuna by Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. You understand? And we are all represented by Arjuna. Arjuna is a man of action. We are also people who are in the world. You understand? So therefore, Bhagavad Gita, we are able to relate much better than Upanishads. We have to, through Bhagavad Gita, evolve and relate with Upanishads much later. That's a different thing. You get it? So therefore, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita one and the same. So what is he saying? Sarva Upanishada Gavaha. All the Upanishads are cows. And Sri Krishna is the cowherd boy. Milking the cow, called the Upanishad, and giving us the milk, called Bhagavad Gita. Though the milk is given by the cow in the presence of the calf, the milk is not meant only for the calf. You understand? Similarly, though the message is drawn, inspired by Arjuna's questions, the message in the Bhagavad Gita is meant for the whole universe. Right? So he says, Sarva Upanishada Gavaha Dogda Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. Partha is the calf. Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahate. Right? The Gita Amritam is the milk. So therefore, this is the comparison. Are you with me? So when we really understand that Bhagavad Gita is also nothing but the essence of the Upanishads, it is also Vedanta. And since the Upanishadic message is diluted and given to a man of action, it is elaborated in 18 chapters. Now we are in the 5th chapter, right? We have already covered 4 chapters. We've been coming here every year, and once a year we have this Gita lectures. We have covered chapter 1 called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga means what? The yoga of Arjuna's state of despondency. That is the first chapter. Meaning, what happened there is, first chapter only mostly Arjuna talking. Sri Krishna hardly spoke. In fact, he didn't speak Gita. All he did was, when Arjuna said, take my chariot and place it in between both the armies. Senayor Bhayor Madhya Ratam Stapayame Achyuta. That's what he said. Take my chariot and place it in between both the armies. I would like to see who all have come to fight. You want to do SWOT analysis. Right? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threat. So then Sri Krishna took the chariot and placed it right in front of Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya. Because Sri Krishna knew very well that Arjuna is prepared extremely well externally. Nobody can doubt his skill and experience and prowess. But what about mental strength, mental stability? When he comes in front of his guru, when he comes in front of his great-grandfather, you understand? When he comes in front of all the people whom he respects and looks up to them, what happens to his mind? Will he be able to deliver his skill in a proper way? He wanted to do that. So he put him there, right there. You understand? And Arjuna succumbed to his emotions and he collapsed. That is first chapter. Okay, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And when he collapsed, Sri Krishna starts talking to him. But at that time, when he says, take my chariot, he says, behold, that's all he speaks in the first chapter. Behold, O Partha. You understand? He says, O Partha, Arjuna, see, you wanted to come to the center, no? I brought you. See. That's all he says in the first chapter. Then when Arjuna sat down saying, I will not fight, what happens when you get completely stressed? You cannot think. When you cannot think, you cannot act properly. When you cannot act, you become inactive. And that's what happened to Arjuna. He became completely incapacitated to act. You understand? And when he sat down, I'm not going to fight. And he sat down. And Sri Krishna whips him up with powerful words. He's not talking, oh, Arjuna, what a nice person you are. You know, obviously it's very difficult to fight against your great grandfather, your guru. He doesn't talk like that. He says, what are you doing, man? In a crisis moment like this, kutastva kashmalabidam, vishame samupastitam, anaryajushtam ashwargyam, akirtikaram Arjuna. He's whipping him with powerful words, stings him. You understand? That wakes up Arjuna. He comes to the context and says, Hare Krishna, how can I fight against these people? They are worthy of worship. I can't fight. You understand? And then he puts his question there. He says, if I fight the battle because it's my dharma as a Kshatriya, I have to kill these people who are good people. Then I will incur sin. If I don't fight the battle, as I am a Kshatriya, not doing my duty, for that also I will incur sin. I am caught between devil and deep sea. What to do, I don't know. You understand? And then he surrenders. Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yashreyasya nishitam bruhitam me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. He surrenders. He says, I am thy disciple. My nature is overpowered by the taint of pity. I'm confused. Understand? Therefore, I am asking, Prichamitvam, Dharma Sammuda Chetaha. I'm confused. Which Dharma is superior? Should I follow my Swadharma and be a Kshatriya? You understand? There always it happens, no? Between two Dharmas, we get confusion. That's what we call as Dharam Sankat. You understand? What to do? So Arjuna says, I don't know what is good for me. Tell me what is good for me. I am thy disciple. Please teach me. Only after that, Sri Krishna started the Gita. All this that I said. Till he sits down, doing nothing, first chapter. Then Sri Krishna whipping him, and then he's surrendering. All this in the second chapter called Sankhya Yoga, means yoga of knowledge. And after he surrenders, Sri Krishna gives the highest knowledge. The knowledge that he gives is about oneself. The knowledge that he gives is about oneself. The viveka between Atma and Anatma. The self and the non-self. Okay. Why this is very important? This is extremely important for all of us. Why? Because if we ever wish to live, to achieve the purpose of life, we need to have this knowledge. Is the most essential knowledge. I'll tell you why. Firstly, what's the purpose of life? Anybody? What's the purpose of life?
To be of use to others.
To be of use to others. Okay. Anything else?
So we are here to learn lesson, soul journey, and purpose of a soul while we are here.
Soul journey. We are here to learn lesson. That's what Madam says. Anybody else? Pardon? Connecting with Paramatma. Jivatma connecting with Paramatma. All very big words.
So this is Atma Paramatma connection, and this is all drama. What I have to learn.
Okay. The purpose of life is simply to live your life. Now the question is, are we living our life? You understand? What does it mean to live? The purpose of life is to live your life completely, totally, fully. And that's what Vedanta talks about. Vedanta never talks about leaving and going away. Please understand. And yet everybody is so stressed when you say, I'm going for Vedanta class. No. How to live is what Vedanta is talking about. The purpose of life is to live. And live fully. You know, J. Krishnamurti beautifully says, there's a fantastic quotation by J. Krishnamurti. You all know J. Krishnamurti? Great philosopher from the south. You can see it on the board. Life is like the river. Running, swift, volatile, never still. You understand? Life is never still. You meet life with a heavy burden of memory, past, of experience. Naturally, you never contact life. We are so busy trying to make the ends meet, right? And our children grow without we having spent enough time with them. Suddenly we find that they have grown up and they've gone abroad to study and they've taken up jobs somewhere, and we suddenly say, Arey, what happened? So many years have gone. You understand? Then we decide, no. Now when I will have grandchildren, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to be preoccupied with anything. I'm going to be really spending time with my grandchildren. And how are we spending time with our grandchildren? We are sitting together, no doubt, having dinner together, supposedly. But we are watching our mobile, they are watching their mobile. You understand? Every one of us are preoccupied mentally, either with the past or with future. You understand? Seldom are we living. Life is going, but we haven't lived. When we are in the moment, when we live moment to moment, then we are living. At the moment, we are all living in our mind. Please understand. And mind, what is the nature of mind? Mind is compared with monkey mind. It never stays in one place. Astira and Chanchala. Understand? It will never stay in one place. Even if it stays in one place, it will be very fidgety. And it will be jumping. So it's going from past to future, past to future, past to future. Worries of the past, anxieties of the future. We are here. Seldom are we really living our life. So when we gain control over control over our mind, and we can be totally in the present moment, then we are living our life. Only to that extent we are living our life. Swami Ramtirtha lived only 32 years. Right? And Swami Adi Shankaracharya, he also lived 32 years. And Swami Vivekananda, 39 years. I'm only giving few, great people's example. Though they lived 32 years, they lived completely, totally. We may be living more than them, but how many of those years have we really lived? That's the question. So that's life. And if you want to live here in this world, in the present moment, you should understand about yourself. Who are you? Who you are and what are your instruments? I told you, we all lack viveka, clarity. I gave an example. What is the means? What is the end? We are confused. We think means to be the end. Money is the means, not the end. But we take money to be the end. And that's the problem. Similarly, who are we and what are our equipments? We have now taken our equipments to be ourselves. Who am I? Body. Who am I? Mind. Who am I? Intellect, buddhi. I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect. But you also refer to this body, mind, intellect as mine, my body, my mind, my buddhi, my intellect. Which means what? They are your possessions. They are not you. You are somebody different from them. You are a witness. You are the possessor, not the possessed. You understand? So this clarity first has to come. That I am not the instruments. I am the owner of these instruments. I have to use these instruments. And when I gain control over these instruments and I use them properly, then I will live in the present moment. Then I will live moment to moment. Then I live my life completely. All this Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita teaches. So you can see that slide. It talks about the human composition. We are a combination of self or Atma and the body, mind and intellect. When Atma, the self, functions through the body, we perceive and act. When Atma, the self, functions through the mind, we feel and think. We feel emotions. When Atma functions through the intellect, we think and contemplate. You understand? So we are perceiving, acting, feeling, thinking, contemplating through the equipments. But we are above these equipments. We are beyond these equipments. We have to understand this. The more I understand about myself, the more I gain control over my equipments, the more I will live my life. And that is what Gita talks about. And he gives this knowledge. Come back to where I left. He gives this knowledge. Atma, Anatma, what are instruments? What is your original nature? You are Nitya. You are Sarvagata. Nitya means eternal. Sarvagata means all pervading. You are never born. Ajaha. You are unborn. You are beyond death. You are not doer. You are not the enjoyer. So many things he talks. In the second chapter beginning, Sri Krishna. That's where the Gita begins. From verse 11. And then he says, after having gained this knowledge, with this knowledge, you have to dedicate yourself for a higher purpose and act in the world. Right? Why? Because even though I am the Atma, the self, right now my nature, my original nature Atma, is covered by ignorance, which is manifested as desires. And if I have to remove these desires, I have to act in the world with this knowledge. I have to do karma yoga. I have to act in the spirit of karma yoga. Without knowledge, without awareness, when I act, I get bound. When I act with awareness, do it in the spirit of karma yoga, I become free. I keep exhausting the vasanas, desires. I keep discovering myself. You understand? So God or Atma plus vasanas equals human being. Human being minus vasanas equals God. Okay? So we have to essentially remove the bulk of our desires in the beginning. Basically remove all the desires. Rise above the desires. And that is through karma yoga. And then when you keep on doing karma yoga, you will reach a mental state where you are completely detached. You understand? Then you can pursue the knowledge little more deeply and then go into meditation and liberation. All these I'll talk about in detail. So he said that you will liberate. Then Arjuna asks, when I liberate, what happens? Please talk to me about a man of perfection. And Sri Krishna talks about a man of perfection called Siddha Prajna. With that, second chapter ends, called Sankhya Yoga. Then, in the third chapter, Arjuna asks a question and Sri Krishna explains about action in detail. That's called Karma Yoga. Chapter called Karma Yoga. Yoga of action. Okay? That's called Yoga of action. What is this Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga? Because first we have to understand what is Karma Yoga. Then we have to come to Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Renunciation of action. Without knowing Karma Yoga, if you straight away come to Karma Sannyasa Yoga, it's a problem. Few faces I can see that they've been attending the sessions regularly. Quite a few are new. So I'm giving this introduction. It's important. Straight away if I start talking about Karma Sannyasa Yoga, as it is you are thinking whether to come tomorrow or not. You understand? Definitely you will not come tomorrow. So the point is, first in the Gita, he talks about Karma Yoga. Then only he comes to Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Please understand the thought flow. So what is Karma Yoga? You have to put it in a nutshell. Karma Yoga, first of all, the word yoga means, it comes from the root yuj, which means to unite, union. You understand? When you try to unite with the ultimate, Atma, when you try to know thyself through the action, it's called Karma Yoga. When you try to do it with devotion, it's called Bhakti Yoga. You try to do that with knowledge, it's called Jnana Yoga. You understand? So, path of action, Karma Yoga. What is that? Your intellect pitches up a higher goal Mind surrenders to that goal. Higher goal means something beyond your selfish, self-centered interest. Like that gentleman said, being of some use to others. And he asked, what is the purpose? You understand? Isn't that what he said? Being of some use to others. Setting a higher goal with your intellect, mind surrendering to that goal, and physical body acting in that direction. That's called karma yoga. To begin with. Okay. So this is called acting in the spirit of dedication. Arpana bhava. Okay. Then, once you do that, then while acting, you should not think of the result. You understand? If you are attached to the result, you won't get the result. If you are attached to the result, you won't get the result because your attention is diverted to future. It's not in the present. It has to be in the present. You have heard this shloka very often, right? Very popular. Karmani eva adhikaraha ma phaleshu kadachana. You have heard that shloka. So that's what. It is called what? Phala nirapeksha buddhi. Meaning what? Without getting attached to the result. Right? And then samatva buddhi. Being balanced in pleasure and pain. Honor, dishonor. Whatever may be the place of opposite. Joy, sorrow, pleasure, pain. All that. So he says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. In the 38th shloka of chapter 2, he says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Naivam papam avapsyasi. Beautifully he says, that rising above the pairs of opposites. And that is yoga, karma yoga, samatvam. And then whatever comes as a result, every action will have a result. Whatever comes as a result, accepting it as prasada. It's called prasada buddhi. What all we covered so far? What is karma yoga? Arpana, bhava, then phala, nirapeksha buddhi, and then samatva buddhi, prasada buddhi. Now when you act like this, what happens? You will drop the desires. How do you develop the desires? By constantly thinking about something, you develop desire. By constantly, unintelligently, unconsciously, if you keep on thinking, you develop desire, attachment. Now consciously, you direct your thoughts towards the higher, the lower drops. You understand? You become detached. So the desires drop, and the fact that you are acting in the present totally, you will be achieving the result also. You will be enjoying the world and evolving spiritually, discovering the Atma by removing the vasanas. Do you get it? All this I am talking because all this is coming in this chapter also. If you understand this, then it will be easy for me when I do the shlokas. Okay? So therefore, when you function like this, you are not thinking about the result. You are focusing and acting. So you are going to get the result. You are enjoying the world also. Dropping the vasanas are also. You are going to evolve spiritually. This is what he says. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. In the second chapter, that portion from verse 45 till 52, in the second chapter itself, he gives karma yoga in a nutshell. There is where he talks about karmani yoga, karmani eva adhikaraha, ma phaleshu kadachana and all that. And in that, he talks about this. He says, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Means what? You will do skillfully, the actions very skillfully, dexterously. How? You are doing action by which you are attaining the material result, at the same time dissolving the vasanas and evolving spiritually. This is called dexterity in action, skill in action. This is karma yoga. Okay. So now after having spoken about karma yoga, then he comes to next chapter, fourth chapter, called what? Jnana karma sannyasa yoga. Jnana karma sannyasa yoga. This is the fourth chapter. What does it mean? The yoga of jnana karma sannyasa yoga. The yoga of renunciation of action through knowledge. It is impossible to do renunciation without knowledge. Understand? When you have the knowledge of the higher, when you get established in the higher, you become detached, renunciate, you renounce the lower. When a flower matures into a fruit, the petals of the flower automatically fall away. When you forcefully pluck the petals, will it become fruit? When the flower matures into a fruit, the petals automatically fall away. But one by one, if you remove the petals, will it become the fruit? It won't. So, when you gain the knowledge of the higher, so he gives the knowledge of the higher. In 4th chapter, shloka number 18 is a very important shloka. Of course, I will, if you listen to my lectures, many shlokas I'll be saying like this. But of course, 4th chapter, 18th shloka, very, very important shloka in the entire Gita also. Because there he talks about something very technical. He says, you must see karma in akarma, akarma in karma. Then you'll say, what to do? This is my karma. You don't understand correctly. Right? So what he's saying is, you must see Atma in action. And you should see the action in Atma. Or, I mean, it's little technical. If I go very deeply, then I won't be able to cover the shlokas today. Therefore, I'm little bit not going to touch that in detail. I'm doing a class every Sunday, 11 to 12 online. Last week we covered shloka number 18 in one full class. Okay, it's all there in YouTube. You can go and listen to that. What he's saying is, see action in inaction. Inaction in action. See inaction in action. What does it mean? When Adi Shankaracharya gives a beautiful example. When you are in Kerala, I mean Adi Shankaracharya is from Kerala, so he's giving that example, right? You see, you are traveling in the boat and there are trees on the side of the river. Boat is moving. The person who is sitting in the boat, you the traveler, it appears as if the trees are moving. So he's saying, in the so-called trees that are moving, see the unmovingness. Okay, do you get it? The trees are moving, right? And they are moving to you, but they're actually not moving. Are you with me? They're actually not moving. It appears to you as if they are moving. So if I come and tell you, Are Baba, the trees that you are telling are moving, see the unmovingness in them, non-movingness in them. You understand? So here also, what is doing action? Your body, mind, intellect is doing action. Atma is only a sakshi, witness. You are only a sakshi, witness. But what are you thinking? I am talking. Therefore, are they all appreciating my talk? If they are all appreciating my talk, then I will get good name. I become enjoyer because I am thinking myself to be the doer. Therefore, I am also becoming the enjoyer, the papa and punya. Do you get it? So therefore he says, see the inaction. You get it? And then he says, see action in inaction. What is that? Again, another example. He says, when you go now from the river, he's gone to the sea. Again in Kerala you have sea, right? Arabian Sea. So you see a boat, a ship traveling far away in the sea, on the sea, right? For you, from distance, does it appear like the ship is moving or stationary? Stationary, no? So you say, Arey, long, see there, far away there is a ship, not moving. He says, in that ship which seems to be not moving, seeing movement. See the movement in the non-moving ship. So, what is he saying? There are people who sit down doing nothing. right? But unka man, like for example, husband and wife have an argument, they don't talk to each other, but waiting for the other to talk. Let him talk first. I will talk. You understand? Mind is active, but they are sitting down doing nothing. So what he wants to say is, understand that even if the body and mind seems to be doing nothing, they have action. You are always non-doer. So when you understand that you are essentially akarta abhokta, to understand this, Swamiji gives a beautiful example. Petrol in a car. Petrol in a car. No car can move without petrol. Yet petrol has no desire to move. Isn't it? You go and ask petrol, would you like to go to the Gita class? Oh, you're not replying, so you don't want to go, is it? No reply. Isn't it? Petrol is essential for the car to move, yet petrol has no desire to move or not to move. Similarly, the performance of the car, petrol has got nothing to do with it. It's to do with the engine. Correct? Similarly, you reaching the destination safely or meeting with an accident, petrol has got nothing to do with it. It's on the driver. Similarly, Atma is like that. The self only enlivens the equipments. You understand? It is a non-doer. It has no desire to do or it has no desire not to do. Okay, it's beyond desires. And the same Atma is not responsible for your performance. It's to do with the quality of your mind, body and intellect. And then how you reach the destination safely, do you travel in the journey of life with happiness or not, all that depends on your knowledge in the buddhi. Understand? Yet without Atma nothing can happen, but Atma is not responsible for all this. When you understand about yourself, with that example of petrol, that 18th shloka, with that jnanam, what happens? You renounce the kartritva bhav. You understand? You renounce the kartritva bhav, the doership. Once having renounced the kartritva bhav, in a context if you choose not to do anything, or in a context you choose to do anything, either way you are a non-doer. Either way you are a non-doer. So therefore he says, jnana karma sannyasa yoga. With the knowledge, you renounce karma with the knowledge. Means what? He's not saying don't do the action. You rise above the doership with knowledge. That's what he spoke in the 4th chapter. Now you are clear? 1st chapter, 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter. Now we have come to the 5th chapter. Now this 5th chapter starts with Arjuna's question. Okay. So then Sri Krishna answers. And then is talking about karma sannyasa yoga as the essence. What it is, we'll see. Now every chapter, now we have to follow this thought flow. It's very important. That's why I spent so much time. Okay. Now, to catch this thought flow, Sage Vyasa has put the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna in 18 chapters. Okay. Now, they are in 701 shlokas. To catch the thought flow in each of the chapters, Swamiji, our Guruji, has split the chapters into different topics. You can see it on the board. This chapter, he split that into 4 topics. The first topic is from verse 1 to 7. This chapter has 29 shlokas. From verse 1 to 7, the topic is Yogi, Sannyasi, Jnani. Yogi, initial stage of spiritual evolution. Sannyasi, little higher stage. Then Jnani, ultimately, when you merge with the total. That's the 3 stages of spiritual evolution that he talks about from verse 1 to 7. And in this only I said, whatever I spoke just now, lot of things I'm going to explain in detail. You understand? I have covered, but I'll explain that in detail because Sri Krishna is talking about all that. Then from 8 to 12, the next topic, the topic discusses how they relate to action, how the person who's in the beginning of spiritual evolution relate to action, how the person in the little evolved state called sannyas relate to action. See, this is the beauty. Sannyasi also relates to action. You get it? Sannyas, we have our own idea of sannyas. Giving up everything and sitting down doing nothing. Only open the mouth to eat or to talk. You understand? So, sannyasi, how he relates to action. And then jnani, how they relate to action. All that he talks about here from shloka number 8 to 12. And then from shloka number 13 to 19, he talks about the state of supreme being. When a person reaches that ultimate state, what is that state? You must understand. You must understand where you are going. No, if that is the goal, I should know what that goal is all about. So he talks about that state of supreme being from shloka number 13 to 19. Then the last topic from shloka number 20 to 29. He says renunciation precedes meditation and realization. I told you, renunciation is the crux of Vedanta. Once you come to that state, then only you qualify for meditation. And through meditation, you liberate. Why we say that? Why there should be renunciation before meditation? All that I will discuss when I go to that topic. Okay. So with this, all this introduction, now let's get on to shloka number 1 of chapter 5. Please chant.
Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmana krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam.
Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or for that matter, many of our scriptures, you will see, are only conversation. You understand? It's a samvada between the Guru and Sishya. The Sishya is asking, the Guru is answering. And then he gets some clarification, he asks that, then the conversation continues. This is how the knowledge was given. Because educate means to eke out, to draw out, not stuff it from outside. You understand? The student has to draw it out. So Arjuna was drawing it out. So he asks a question. He is asking a question, something similar to what he asked in the 3rd chapter. You understand? So he says, "O Krishna," Arjuna is speaking here. He says, "O Krishna, you praise renunciation of action, sannyasa, and again yoga, which means here the path of action, karma yoga. Tell me conclusively, which of the two is better? Should I follow sannyas or should I follow yoga? Karma yoga. Yoga means karma yoga. I already explained to you what is yoga, which comes from the root yuj and all that. That's why I said many things I have already covered because this is a thought flow. You understand? So, if you understand correctly, you will not have confusion. See, the problem is either we don't understand or we misunderstand or we selectively understand. Don't understand, no problem. If you misunderstand and selectively understand, बहुत बड़ा problem. You understand? From the beginning, Arjuna somehow wants to escape from action. Why? Why? It's a difficult action. You understand? Something easy somebody gives, then you would like to do that. Something difficult, you will try to pass the buck. Let him do that. I don't want to do. I'll do this easy thing. Right? We are only fooling ourselves. But yet we do that. So, Arjuna selectively is hearing. So, but only one good thing about Arjuna is, he never accuses Sri Krishna of confusing. Here, he is not using those things. But in the 3rd chapter, when he is asking question, there again I told you, he asked something similar question. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani goreyam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasi vame tadekam vadanishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. That's the question. He's asking, you have been praising knowledge in the second chapter. This question is in the third chapter. You have been praising knowledge, yet you are forcing me to do this Gora Karma of killing Bhishma, Drona and all. This terrible action. Tell me conclusively. He's asking same thing. And he's saying, with an apparently perplexing speech of yours. He very beautifully says, with an apparently perplexing speech of yours. Which means what? You are not confusing me. You seem to be confusing. Why? Because I have misunderstood or I am selectively hearing. This is called Shishya Bhav. You should have this right attitude. You understand? A student goes out of curiosity for intelligence. You understand? Whereas a Shishya goes not out of curiosity for intelligence, he goes for transformation. You understand? So with that bhav he is asking. He is not accusing. Similarly, Arjuna is asking here, oh Krishna, should I follow sannyas, renunciation of action, or should I follow karma yoga? What did I say? I said, you will have to drop the bulk of your vasanas through karma yoga. Then only you come to sannyas. See, when we talk about sannyas, I'm not going too much into Sanskrit and all that, but generally, what is sannyas? Nyasam, sannyasam. Samyak nyasam is sannyas. Nyasam means dropping something decisively. What is nyasam? Dropping something decisively, firmly. Samnyasam, samyak nyasam. Sannyasam means very well dropping something decisively. We sometimes drop things physically, but mentally we hold on to it. Here mentally also they drop it. So when I told you already, when you gain the higher knowledge, you drop the lower. In fact, you don't drop the lower drops itself. When the child grows into cycle world, the toy world with which the child was playing drops by itself, isn't it? Toy world gives up the child. Child doesn't give up the toy world. Child was given the bicycle. Child started learning how to ride the bicycle. And when the child started enjoying the bicycle, forgot about the toy world. Do you get it? So, similarly, when you gain the knowledge, when you become a jnani, absolute knowledge has come. Then, with that kind of knowledge, you become a sannyasi. You understand? That is one kind of sannyas. Right? It's called Vidvat sannyas. It's one kind of sannyas. Another sannyas is there. What is that? Sannyas lifestyle. What I spoke just now is sannyas spirit. You understand? Now you have something called sannyas spirit. With that sannyas spirit, you can go into sannyas lifestyle, or you can remain in Grihastha ashrama, but be a sannyasi within. This is what King Janaka did. King Janaka continued as a king, but from within he was a sannyasi. Right? But some people decide to take up sannyas after the jnanam. You understand? And there is a maryada for that lifestyle. They go through that. You understand? They are dedicated in teaching and all that. Maybe not teaching, maybe something else. But they are dedicated for the higher, totally. In their life, rest of the time they live. Another sannyas is, as you are understanding about all these things, your Viveka Shakti is improving. Ability to discriminate. As a result, you develop what is called as Vairagya. You understand, अरे यार, ये क्या है? ये सब only for transactional purpose. Car is useful for transaction purpose. It's a dabba. Isn't it? It's a dabba fitted with wheels, an engine, air conditioner, this and that. You understand? For what purpose? To transport me from one place to another. That's the car. You understand? So I understand. This is it. This is its real value. Beyond that, I don't give it value. It's transactional purpose. Similarly, money, everything. name, fame, all are at the transactional level. When I understand that, I develop what is called as vairagya. Capacity to renounce. At least mentally, I've risen above that. Right? Then some people say, having understood this, I want to go into gaining this knowledge, understanding it deeply, for which, since I have done my duty and all that for my children and all that, now I would like to take sannyas lifestyle to spend the rest of my life in this path. That way also some people take sannyas. That's called vividisha sannyas. You understand? So either way, you cannot achieve sannyas without doing your duty. You understand? In the spirit of karma yoga. I already explained that. Do you understand? So therefore, if Arjuna understood this correctly, which Sri Krishna spoke in the first chapter till fourth, not first chapter, second chapter till fourth chapter, he would have not asked this question. Doesn't matter. But he has the courage to ask the question. You understand? So he asks. So he says, should I follow sannyas or should I follow action? You understand? What would be your answer? Let's see what is Sri Krishna's answer. Then you see whether your answer was correct. You didn't express it, but it would have been in your head. You understand? So he's asking, which is superior? Renunciation of action or yoga of action? Tell me conclusively, which of the two is better? Nishchitam, sunishchitam, yashreya, shreya, which is better? See, whenever you say, which is better, better for whom? You understand? Which is better? Which is superior is different, which is better is different. Do you get it? So he is asking which is better. And let's see Sri Krishna's answer. Verse number 2.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasakara Ubhav Tayostu Karma Sannyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
He beautifully says, Sri Krishna Uvacha means Sri Krishna said. The Guru is answering now. He is saying, both renunciation and yoga of action, both sannyasa and karma yoga lead to supreme bliss. Supreme bliss is what? Supreme bliss is that ultimate state. You understand? You will be in bliss throughout. You won't be searching for bliss. You will be in bliss. Please understand. So he says it will lead you to the supreme goal, supreme bliss. But of the two, yoga of action is superior to renunciation of action. Vishishyate. Vishishyate from the point of view of Arjuna. For Arjuna who is a man of action, for Arjuna who is full of desires, lot of extroversion. See, before the class, they announced, please switch off your mobile phone or put it in silent mode. Many of us would have put it in silent mode. Very few would have probably switched it off. Okay. And when you put it in silent mode, you've already, this notification and all that is already been, allowed. So you're keeping the phone next to you in the class. Every time when the notification, SMS comes, there's a light coming up. So immediately you see, okay. Or if you saw the notification when I'm talking, you're waiting for the chanting to come. The chanting is going on, you will quickly see whose message. You understand? So our mind is so disturbed today because there's so many desires, full of desires. Just for 1 hour and 15 minutes, we are not able to detach from the mobile phone. You understand? And if you take sannyas, what will happen? You understand? So therefore he says, both renunciation and yoga of action will ultimately take you there only. Why? Because, as I told you, yoga of action, you'll drop the bulk of vasanas. Then you become sannyasi. With sannyas, you'll take up knowledge. Then you clearly understand that you are not the doer and you'll go much deeply. And through meditation, you realize the self. So both will ultimately take you to moksha. Okay. Both will ultimately take you to moksha. And when you go to moksha, you will understand that the happiness, bliss that I have been searching for is my original nature. How this happiness, which you have been searching for, is your original nature, I'll talk about it in tomorrow's class. Okay, so that is what he's saying. You will reach that supreme bliss through both. But of the two means between sannyasa and path of action, he says path of action is superior to Arjuna, superior to men of action, people like us. It's safer. You understand? You will at least act, be in the world, and then you drop the vasanas and go ahead. Otherwise, if you forcefully take up sannyas, it's a big problem. Please remember, it's a one-way traffic. You have to go from grahastha to sannyas, or brahmacharya to sannyas. You can come back. You understand? Can't come back. If you are so frustrated, it's better to come back. It's a different thing. But why do all that? You understand? So therefore, for whom is the question? One of Socrates' student went to Socrates and asked, should I get married? And when he asked, should I get married? Immediately Socrates said, I believe, yes, you should get married. If you get a good wife, you will be happy. If you get a bad one, you will become a philosopher. Right? So he said, you should get married. Why? A person who is above all that will not even go and ask question. If Arjuna was in the level of sannyas, he's got knowledge. I told you, only with knowledge can sannyas happen. Only with viveka vairagya can happen. Understand? With ultimate knowledge, ultimate sannyas. With viveka, vairagya happens. I already explained. You understand? So without knowledge, vairagya cannot happen. And a person who has knowledge will not ask, do you think I have understood? Will you ask, do you think I have woken up? When you wake up in the morning, would you wake up your wife or husband and say, excuse me, do you think I've woken up? She'll get frightened. My God, what has happened to this fellow? You understand? When you wake up, you know you've woken up. Why are you asking, sannyas is better or path of action is better? The fact that he's asking means what? He's still not got the knowledge. Therefore, Sri Krishna is saying yoga of action is better. So for many of us who have too many desires, path of action is superior for us, not path of renunciation. Continue.
nitya sannyasi yo nadveshti na kakshati nirbandho hi mahabhaho sukham bandha pramuchyate.
Beautifully he says, Nyesa nitya sannyasi. Nitya sannyasi. Constant sannyasi, he says. Perpetual sannyasi. Who? He should be known as a perpetual sannyasi, ascetic, who neither hates nor desires. For free from the pairs of opposites, O Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, he is easily set free from bondage. See, there is another shloka in chapter 6. First shloka, chapter 6, which is next year. Right? So I'm already giving you a prelude. You understand? Chapter 6, first shloka. Chapter 6 is called Dhyana Yoga, by the way. Okay? Yoga of meditation. Very first shloka is this. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha saha sannyasi saha yogi na niragnirna chakriyaha. No discussion about akar robe and all that. Right? He's saying one who is free from the fruit, anashrita karma phalam, karyam karma karoti yaha. One who does what he has to do is a sannyasi. Here again he's saying, he should be known as a perpetual sannyasi. Who? What is the explanation he's giving? Who neither hates nor desires. Free from the pairs of opposites. Dvandvas. See, another name for the world is dvandvas. Because in the world, everything is a pair of opposites. Joy, heat, cold, pleasure, pain, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor, censure, praise. Everything is like this. So another name for the world is pairs of opposites. So world means both will be there. World means heat and cold will be there. Now slowly cold weather is reducing in Chandigarh. Almost gone. You understand? And then summer is going to begin. Holi will come and summer will come. Already in the afternoons we started feeling as if summer has already come. And then summer will go. Again winter will come. Heat and cold, pleasure, pain, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor. This is world. Nobody can escape this. Do you understand? World means dvandvas, pairs of opposites. Do you understand? This is world. Now he says, one who neither hates nor desires. There's a beautiful quotation in English. I'm forgetting the name of the person who gave the quotation. It's there in the book Vedanta Treatise, which I was mentioning. He says, for him in vain, the envious seasons roll, who bears eternal summer in his soul. In England, they look forward for summer. You understand? So he's saying, for him, for a person, the envious seasons roll. The seasons become envious, it seems. You understand? That, and they are rolling about. They're going on changing. So for him in vain, the envious seasons roll, who bears eternal summer in his soul. The one who has summer eternally in his soul, how does it matter what weather is there? Rainy season or winter or summer. You understand? So like that he's saying, one who's got the higher in his head, the pairs of opposites doesn't bother. If your focus is on the higher, how does it matter what the other fellow is talking or doing about you? You are talking about others because you don't have any higher focus. So now you come to Karma Yogi. What did I say? Intellect pitches up a higher goal. So the Karma Yogi has a goal which is beyond his selfish, self-centered interest. So when the focus of attention is upon the higher, the heat, cold, pleasure, pain doesn't affect the Karma Yogi. So Karma Yogi therefore has a samatva bhav. You remember I told you. What is Karma Yoga? Arpana bhav. Then I said, phala, nirapeksha buddhi, samatva bhav, samatva buddhi, and then prasada bhav. Prasada buddhi. You remember all this I spoke. So therefore, how is he able to be balanced? How a Karma Yogi is able to be balanced? Because he has a higher goal. See, you can see some people, on the roadside also, trying to walk on a rope. Have tied the rope and they're trying to walk from one end to the other. They will keep a stick for balancing. Isn't it? And sometimes they may tilt on the left side, sometimes they may tilt on the right side, but they keep focusing on the front and use the stick to balance themselves and move. Similarly, they are not interested in tilting this side. They are not interested in tilting this side. They may tilt this side, that side, but they have no interest in that. So even for a Karma Yogi, to the extent he has a higher goal, he is not affected by heat and cold. To that extent, he is also a sannyasi. You understand? And when you come to sannyasi, who's got that ultimate knowledge or who's got that viveka, that all these things are only for transactional purpose, that person has got tremendous vairagya. You understand? So heat and cold and all these things doesn't affect him. He is like the flower in your garden. He is like the plant in your garden. He is extremely vulnerable, like that flower or plant. Let it be rainy season, let it be summer, let it be winter, let it be breezy weather, whatever it may be, the flower is exposed itself to it. It's very vulnerable. Only thing is, in the case of flower, in the case of plant, it is vulnerable without a choice. You understand? Human being, a sannyasi, vulnerable with a choice. You understand? He is the one who is not bothered. Oh, how many people are going to come for my cremation when I die? Unnecessarily sitting and worrying now. Because I am attending so many people's cremation. You understand? Oh, my son is yet to get married. My granddaughter is yet to get married. When I have marriage for them, how many people will come? Because I am attending all weddings. You understand? He is not bothered about all that. Whatever happens, let it happen. I'll face it when it comes. He is allowing himself to be extremely vulnerable. You understand? Consciously, with choice, living in the moment. He is living fully. You say, poor fellow, he's taken sannyas. He is only living his life. You are not living your life. Do you understand? So that's what he's saying. Neither hates nor desires. He is not resisting it. Neither hates nor desires means there is no resistance. Are you with me? He is leading his life free from the pairs of opposites. Oh, Mahabaho, he is easily set free from bondage. He becomes absolutely free from the bondage of all this. He becomes absolutely free. Who? Karma yogi as well as sannyasi. We'll conclude here.